Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I put cinnamon in my coffee, fresh cinnamon in my coffee, just to do this video. So, and I've got a lot of good info here. The first thing I got was from Michael at VAL5 Links. What? No Cardano? Coinbase plans to list 8 new cryptocurrencies, including Dash. And who knows? At this point, I don't know what in the world guides Coinbase and their decision making, but what I do know is that these are about as random gets. Algorand, Cosmos, Dash, Decred, Matic, Harmony, Ontology, and Waves. So what motivates these people? Long ago, I decided I have no idea, but one thing I do know is that they are trying to be careful with the regulators in the United States. And so, for whatever reason, these are the ones that they're looking at. I would think that Cardano would be at the top of that stack, but it's not. Let me X this out if I can. I hate these little block things. Okay, and then from Digital Asset CPA. This was interesting this morning. Mr. Wonderful mentions XRP on CNBC, and Pomp tells him to focus. I didn't hear this. He says, and Pomp tells him to focus on XRP. What I heard said, first of all, this video on CNBC, Anthony Pompliano was on there this morning. Let me give you a snapshot. Anthony Pompliano was on there this morning, and what's important to get out of this video is that these guys on CNBC, it is really becoming a thing where they are calling Bitcoin a safe haven, and they're calling it a hedge against the stock market. Now that is huge for all of us, because especially those of us that know what's going on, because if all of us that know what's going on, we know that Bitcoin will never be anything because it's technologically not near what the XRPs of the world are. But this is what is important for me and for you to get out of this. Bitcoin is only being called a hedge and a store of value because it has a limited amount. Now, since its limited amount is 21 million, Bitcoin can go to much higher heights because of that supply than XRP would. That's just logic. There's 100 billion XRP. There will never be more than 100 billion. In fact, there will be less because they get burned. Well, same type thing with Bitcoin. In other words, the point is that the digital assets that are the survivors, the ones that survive, there's 2,000 of them. The ones that survive are all going to be hedges against the stock market, because the stock market represents the government. And what represents the government is unlimited propping up, money printing, everything that you can't do with digital assets or gold. That's the reason they will be a hedge. That is the good ones, the survivors, the ones that actually have use. Bitcoin doesn't have use. That's why they declared it as a safe haven, because they knew if they didn't do that and create a marketing campaign around it, Bitcoin would not last. But there's two things to get out of this. The first is that this Mr. Wonderful guy is an idiot when it comes to digital assets. He holds up his phone and he makes the point that since the digital assets that he had put some money into had not gone up, therefore they're all illegitimate. And I think that's ridiculous, especially if you've followed this market for any period of time. This isn't the first time that you've gone a long period of time without XRP doing anything. I've been through this. This is not the first time. The only difference this time is that there is so much more actual utility going on, and there's so much more progress than in previous run-ups. But the Pompliano is doing a good job of telling these people, look, this is going to be a hedge. Now, he does say that, oh, I'm only here to talk about Bitcoin. Well, yeah, the only reason he's here, Pompliano's pretty smart about this. The only reason he's here to talk about Bitcoin is because if he starts talking about anything like XRP, all of a sudden, it'll all be exposed for what the greatest digital asset ever created is, and he doesn't want to talk about that. In fact, that is the one thing, the one area Pompliano handles himself well, but I believe that if he ever gets in a serious debate with someone in the know, XRP versus Bitcoin, I think he'd be in trouble at that point, because there's really no arguing that at all. Okay, next, and I wanted to show you, here's why it's so important. And now I'm speaking to those of you who don't even like digital assets, and I'm going to tell you this is the reason. Now, we've just established, and you don't have to take my word for it, just look at the numbers. As the stock market got pummeled yesterday, this is becoming more and more of a pattern. Stock market pummeled, Bitcoin's going up. Okay? Chinu Patel at Chinu Patel 29 sends this. Now, I'm talking to you, the person who doesn't believe in digital assets. Even if you don't believe in digital assets, even if you don't think anything's going to happen with them over the long term. This is from XRP Darren at Fame21 More. And what you're looking at is the .com bubble, okay? Burst, see what happens. Then you're looking at the financial crisis in 2008. Now look how long we've gone. We've gone longer this time past a recession. There's normally a recession every 6 years. Well, if it's an established thing that owning Bitcoin it goes counter to stock market crashes, then why on earth would you not own some Bitcoin, even if you don't even like Bitcoin? If you know for a fact that it tends to go up when the stock market goes down. And that's why I'm telling you folks, not just Bitcoin, but XRP, all the good ones, when this thing really goes off, that's when I've said this since I began this channel, that's when you're really going to see this happen. That's when the real money, because these people with hedge funds and all this, they know what's going on, and they will know what to do when the time comes. From XRP Honey Bear at C_Mike13 sent me this. And this ties in with this as well. This is Alan Blinder. He was a former Federal Reserve Vice Chair. This entire video just made me want to throw up. The whole video, he was talking about currency wars and how the Chinese is trying to devalue the yuan, and he's talking about how the way these things work is they try to devalue their currency, and then the U.S. tries to devalue their currency, and it becomes who can go down the fastest and the furthest. And I'm sitting here listening to this, and I'm thinking to myself, so here we are. I save all my money. Let's say that I'm a very conservative guy, and I'm putting all my money in U.S. dollars. Let's say I've got 10,000 U.S. dollars, and I have my government actively working to devalue the money that I have worked my butt off to earn. Who wants any part of that? I don't. I want to be a part of something that the government can't manipulate, that a politician can't manipulate because he woke up in a bad mood one morning. I don't want my investments that are going to benefit my children and grandchildren one day to be affected by the whims of some jackleg politician that I may or may not even agree with. That is bull, and that is the reason that all these digital assets are here. That's the reason I'm talking to you today. It makes me sick to even talk about these politicians that have destroyed not just our money, but have destroyed these countries of the world for their own political gain. Go and look sometime. Look at how many of these politicians have arrived in Washington with no money whatsoever. If in a sane world, you know what we would do in a sane world? We would go politician by politician, and we would say, you arrived in Washington, D.C. worth nothing, and now you're a millionaire, and we want to see it. I want to see how you did it, because those people, which it's a lot of them, they belong in prison, not running countries. These people have used their positions of power to become wealthy, and some of them create shell corporations so that it doesn't look like them doing it, and it is them doing it. And they ought to be ashamed, and it's disgusting. And here we have to sit and watch them devaluing our money and all. And I'm not saying Trump has done any of that. I'm just saying in general, the whole I don't trust any politicians. It all makes me sick. XRP James T at XRP James sent this. This is a Forbes article. Current U.S. recession odds are the same as during the Big Short. Now, we've talked about the Big Short movie a lot on this channel. The Big Short is one of the best movies. If you want to see what happened during the financial crisis and how crazy what was built up and how crazy the whole thing was, go watch The Big Short today. It is disgusting what went on. Well, they're saying that the same type of thing is repeating itself. And if you go down here, they've got all kinds of charts and things like this. The probability of the recession in the next 12 months, 64%. And then you go down here, and it shows, let's see. One of the bubbles I'm warning about in the U.S. stock market is the U.S. stock market bubble. This bubble has caused the S&P 500 stock index to soar 300% in the past decade. Remember, 300% since the financial crisis. After bailouts, the U.S. debt has gone up, I think, almost doubled since the financial crisis. Now, if they fixed everything, then how in the world did that happen? No, it didn't happen. It did not happen by fixing anything. You don't double the U.S. debt in 10 years from the history of the U.S., the founding of the U.S., and then you more or less double it inside of 10 years, and you act like you fixed the economy. No, they've destroyed the economy. All those bailouts and all that to help all their buddies out, they claimed that all helped everything. Please, give me a break. Look around. The U.S. doesn't even have a manufacturing base anymore. It's all just a bunch of BS, and all of them know it. So if you keep going down here, look at this. Household wealth, U.S. household net worth as a percentage of GDP averaged 384% since 1952, but is now at an all-time high of 535%. I mean, this whole thing is built up on a bunch of garbage, debt, credit, and they all know it. And this time is not just going to be some recession. It says, to summarize, U.S. recession risk is rising at an alarming rate, and there are an incredible number of dangerous new bubbles that are poised to burst in the coming downturn. This is the time for vigilance, not complacency. Central banks have lulled everyone to sleep in the past decade with easy money, but that easy money has created an artificial economy and tremendous distortions that are going to rear their ugly heads very soon. You are damn right. Okay. Now, Brian Melancholy XRP at Mike Honcho _11 showed this from 2016. This was a tweet from Ripple, okay, in 2016. The Federal Reserve is reviewing faster payment strategies like Ripple for interoperability. And XRP Yoda had sent this out too. Fed Pay Improved published this on the 10th of February 2016. The private sector, guess who? They do a simulation on this phone, and look whose name is I guess either the receiver of the money. I guess they're typing in Bob Way is going to receive this money. And for those of you that don't know, Bob Way is the guy who's been in the XRP community talking about different things, and he was one of the early employees at Ripple. So I just thought this was interesting. Okay, from Major Tom. Is the U.S.-China trade currency war just a cover so as to revalue currencies according to their gold-backed rates in preparation for the financial reset? And he's got a couple of things here. I just thought that was kind of interesting what he said there. X-Men XRP at XRP33 sent me this article. It's fantastic tech. Hedge funds will go Bitcoin, says consultancy CEO. Speaking to CNBC in an interview August 6th, Don Steinberg praised the cryptocurrency technology. It's been an amazing run. It's fantastic technology. Some people are using it as a way to hedge against inflation, he told the network. Right now, it's very expensive. It's very hard to value, but Bitcoin is going to be here for a long time. And long term, I think it will be a part of a lot of hedge funds portfolios. So that is, I believe that's true. Sergeant Obi-Wan at Sergeant Obi-Wan sent me a John McAfee update. Looks like John McAfee has gotten a background screen for his communications room. Maybe I'll look less like I'm inside a tinfoil hat when doing interviews, etc. I think John McAfee is thoroughly enjoying the attention that he's getting for himself. Now, I thought this was pretty wild, so I wanted to show it to you. From Heisen Zerp, which is a takeoff on my favorite show of all time, Breaking Bad. I've never looked at it this way. Dude, and he's showing a great Gatsby at Bamboo XRP reply to a tweet. Do you see, this is from, I guess it's from, let's see if it's from today. I've never heard this. I've never heard anyone say this before. Yeah. Do you see how the bail-in would essentially work? This plan was crafted years ago. They have piles of XRP that they have purchased for cheap. Then when it goes up, you bring them fiat to send, and they send a fraction of their XRP to the destination and keep the fiat. Things that make you go, And finally, I want to give a shout out to Camo Ammo. He said, must watch Digital Asset Investor Daily for latest XRP news. Great family man, possibly great at smoking barbecue. No, not possibly. I am great at smoking barbecue. He needs samples, I guess. And then great content, I do have great sound effects. I have blowers. I have tornado sirens. I have bad mics that come and go as far as the sound. And then I even upgrade my mic without knowing it. Oh, and drinks margaritas. What else do you need? Yes, I do drink margaritas. I like my cheese dip. And when I go to the movie theater, I eat butter popcorn and have Coke. Always. That's my rule. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that I do not go to the movies without eating butter popcorn and drinking Coke. Thank you for listening.